morning, everybody, and welcome back to The Walk. Today is Friday, November 28th, and today we are going to be talking about this blue thread. Now, I had a bunch of questions about this blue thread. I can't say that I found all the answers to those questions, but I found a lot of those answers. I was curious, as soon as I heard the word blue, I know that the color of the color blue is associated with the Holy Spirit. And as I started to think and pray about this, it occurred to me, how did it come to represent the Holy Spirit? And I was expecting that I would find a really profound and, kind of mind-blowing answer. And the answer that I came to, the conclusion that I was able to draw from this, really isn't all that mind-blowing. It's really simply that God designated it to be a divine color, a holy color. So as I dug into this, the Hebrew word for blue only appears in the Bible 49 times. I thought that it would be in there a whole lot more. And the majority of those references where the color blue is included were about instructions for the way that the priests should be dressed, the way that the temple should be put together, and things like that. What really, really surprised me was there is no reference to the color blue in the New Testament. There is not a single word for blue. So as I continued to dig into this, what I found is that this word for blue is tekheleth. And it's like a cerulean muscle. It's the color that's obtained from that muscle. And the way it's used is the word blue. Now the pictograph was really cool. The pictograph is a picture of a bent palm representing the subduing or bending or subduing of the will. And the other letter is the shepherd's staff or the yoke. So combined, these mean to tame the yoke. This is about growing deeper into your relationship with Christ, being very intentional about pursuing your relationship with Christ. You're taming that yoke. You are submitting yourself to the guidance of the Holy Spirit and the authority of Jesus Christ. The two letters that come together for this word one is lamb, and it's represented, or lamed, which is represented by the shepherd's staff, which we already saw. The other is kaf, and that's the open palm or hand, as in I'm subduing, I'm taking what you are giving me kind of motion. So we've got two things that have two materials that have the blue in it. One is the talit, which is the prayer shawl that most Jewish men would wear. We're going to be studying that next week. The other is this ephod that was worn by the high priest. This color for blue was very widely traded. It was all over the place, readily available until the Roman period. And then it was decided that only the Roman emperor could wear that color blue. I found on biblicalarchaeology.com a really neat article where it said that Isaac Herzog would later become Israel's first chief rabbi, researched the tekheleth, the color blue, for his dissertation. He concluded that the blue in the Bible was like a bright sky blue. It's that blue that you see on a very clear day. And it's made from the secretions of a sea snail. This species was known to produce the murex dye, the color of dark purple. After Herzog's death, a chemist proved that the murex dye could in fact also produce this sky blue by exposing the snail secretions to ultraviolet rays, which is available through the sun, during the dyeing process. Sky blue then could be made with murex dye. The debate around the color, whether it was dark blue or light blue, continued over many years. The dissenters argued that the ancient dyers who created dyes in colored vats likely didn't know how to adjust the dye colors using the sun's UV rays. But 11th century biblical exegete Rashi described techelet as a deep blue or a violet. A violet swatch of wool discovered during excavations at the 1st century of Herodians was proven to have been colored by Murex dye. So what was the color, this techelet? What exactly was it? Many experts believe that it is that sky blue. And for 25 years, this foundation has produced hundreds of thousands of blue prayer shawl strings colored with that Murex dye. The blue tallit on Jewish prayer shawl reminds worshipers of the sea, the sky, and God's holy throne. Okay, so now what about the fact that as soon as I heard the word blue, I knew that it is associated with the Holy Spirit. So how did we get to that? Well, I started to do some digging, and that led me to BibleHub.com. And it said, in the Bible, the color blue holds significant symbolic meaning and is frequently associated with divinity, royalty, and the heavens. It is mentioned in the context of sacred garments, tabernacle furnishings, and other religious artifacts, reflecting its importance in worship and biblical sacrifices. So it was included in the priestly garments, it was included in the tassels on the garments of the prayer shawls, and it was a symbol of heaven and divine revelation. Well, divine revelation comes from the Holy Spirit. So how did blue come to be associated with the Holy Spirit? It's simply because God instructed them to use that blue. Our guidance and our direction comes from Him, from the Holy Spirit. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and keep walking the walk.